So before you lay on your back, make sure that I think we all have yoga blocks. If you have 2 yoga blocks in a perfect world, that will be helpful later. If you just have one, then we'll work with that as well. So if you have 2 yoga blocks, you can put them by your mat. If you just have one, make sure to have it nearby. The other thing that can be helpful is if you have something that's like a similar height to a yoga block, you won't be picking it up. We're just going to use it as a little obstacle for some core work later on. So that's an option too. So 2 objects is the best case scenario. If you have one, we'll make it work. So with that being said, I know we're all grabbing stuff right now. So once you find the things you need, eventually lay down onto your mat. And then once you lay down, if it's comfortable for your hips, we'll find that Supta Baddha Konasana variation, so bringing the soles of your feet together and letting the knees fall side to side, so that kind of butterfly shape in the legs. Then bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. And just close your eyes. And just check in with your body and your mind and your breath. Not changing anything right off the bat. Just noticing where your mind is at this morning. Initially, how your body's feeling. Always taking note of any injuries you might have. Any sore spots, any sensitive spots today. Just being aware of them. And then just kind of notice how your breath is starting out today. Again, not changing anything quite yet, but just observing if your breath is deep or if it's shallow, if it's moving into your ribs or if it's moving into the belly. Maybe it's moving into the sides. And just taking a couple neutral breaths right here. Once you notice where your breath is starting, you can start to deepen your breath. So taking a longer inhale and an even longer exhale. Trying to at least make inhale and exhale the same length of time, if not exhaling for a little longer. And then with one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, you can really notice which parts of your body are expanding as you breathe in. So as you inhale, see if you can breathe into the rib cage, let that top hand move. And then see if you can breathe into the belly as well. Let that hand on the belly move up. And as you exhale, it goes in the opposite direction, belly then chest. Maybe notice if you can breathe into the sides of your body as well. And with each exhale, try to let go of one thought or thing that might be cluttering your mind right now. So after 5 or so breaths, your mind should be feeling a little more clear, a little more focused. As you take these few breaths, see if you can start to find your ujjayi, those breaths in and out through the nose, creating that little constriction at the back of the throat, kind of like you're fogging up a mirror with your mouth closed, or like you're taking a big sigh with your mouth closed. Remember, without vocalization though, so we're not taking a humming breath, it's just the sound of the air moving in and out of the body. One more full round of breath. Maintain that ujjayi breath as we move forward in our practice. Gently blink your eyes open. Bring your hands to the outsides of your knees and draw them together on top of you. Then give your knees a little hug. Draw both knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around the shins. And just rocking side to side, massaging the spine. Giving yourself a little bit movement here. Then we'll work into the core on our back a little bit today, kind of targeting the obliques. So allow your arms to come out to the side of your body, capital T shape, so palms face down. And allow your legs to come to a tabletop position. So 90-degree bend in those legs, knees are straight up from the hips. And notice if your rib cage has splayed open and if your front of the body has expanded a lot. See if on an exhale, you can really expand through the back of the body, knit your rib cage together, and that belly button pulls in and up on that exhale. Now try to maintain this shape in your upper body as we start to move. So take an inhale here, squeeze your thighs together, so really engage the adductors. As you exhale, let both legs come over to the right side of your body, almost as if you're taking a supine twist, but maybe hover the legs off the mat. So you'll start to feel those abs engage. Keep squeezing the legs together. On an inhale, bring them back to center. So this is why we want to keep them active when we lower to the side, because we have to come back up again. So on your next exhale, let both legs go to the left side. Make sure that right shoulder is still pressing down into the mat. Inhale, draw the legs back to center, maintain the length of the back of the body. Exhale, let them move over to the right. That left hip will lift off, but the left shoulder presses down. Inhale, bring them back to center. Really see if you can use your core to bring them back up. And then exhale, let them go over to the left. Inhale, bring them back up. Now as you exhale, bring them to the right. Make sure the legs are hovering off the floor. They don't need to go super low. Now see if you can extend your left leg, so that top leg. It's going to add an extra challenge for your core here. Gently bend that leg again once you've extended. And inhale, bring the legs back to center. We'll do that on the left. So exhale, legs go over to that left side. Make sure you're grounding through the arms. Gently extend that right leg. It gets a lot harder there. And gently bend that leg. And inhale, bring the legs back up to center. Final round, if you want to make it a little more challenging, you'll exhale, bring both legs to that right side. See if you can extend both legs. You'll notice your legs might not be able to go down as low. Gently bend your legs here. And inhale, bring them back to center. Final time, exhale, legs go over to the left. Keep the core strong. Gently extend both legs if it's available. You can always do one leg or no legs. Gently bend both legs. And inhale, bring them back to center. From there, give yourself another little hug. Wrap your arms around your shins. Rock side to side. Neutralize the spine. And then gently take your hands underneath your legs. Start to rock and roll forward and back a few times. This can be as big or as small as you want, as slow or as fast as you want. And today we'll just rock and roll up to a seat. So eventually when you feel ready, just come up to a seat. And then you might want to slide back a little so both legs can extend out in front of you. So this is where we are going to want to grab our blocks or things of similar height. So taking your blocks, if you have two, you are going to place them kind of towards the outside edges of your mats. Your legs will be hip width distance in front of you. If you have just one block, place it on the right side of your legs first. You'll just move it side to side. So from here, this is a really good core exercise for the hip flexors and low abs. It's really hard, so if it doesn't go great the first time today, no big deal. So hands will come down by the sides. Imagine that you're pressing them into the floor, so some activity in the arms. You'll notice that when you press the hands into the mat, your low abs can kind of engage. So imagine you were almost as if you were lifting the legs off the mat as well. So this is a really strong seated position here. Keep this activity in the upper body. See if you can lift your right leg and just place it to the outside of that block. From there, lift the right leg, lift it back to center, and lower it down. Now if you have a block only on one side, you'll just move the block to the other side of the leg, so over to the left. Now we do it on the left. Inhale, lift that left leg, carry it over the block, let it land on the floor. Inhale, lift it again, carry it back to the inside, and let it lower. Switch your block to the other side if you only have one. And we'll do it again. Inhale, lift the right leg, carry it to the outside, leg lowers down. Inhale, lift the leg, carry it to the inside, lower down. Now to that left side, inhale, lift the left leg, really plugging the leg back into the hip, carry it to the outside, lower down. Inhale, lift it up, carry it inside, lower down. We'll do it one more time each side. Hopefully you're feeling something in the front of your body right now. Inhale, lift that right leg. Carry it to the outside. Lower down. Inhale, lift it. Carry it to the inside. Lower down. Final time on the left. Inhale, left leg up. Carry it to the outside. Lower down. Inhale, lift. Carry it to the inside. Lower down. Take a gentle forward fold just for a moment. Nothing fancy here, just to release through the hips, releasing through the legs. Hopefully your hip flexors and abs are feeling a little more activated now. And just slide your blocks and props out to the side or in front of your mat, just so they're out of the way. From here, we'll make our way to a tabletop position. So sitting yourself up, you can just swing your legs around to the side, coming to your hands and knees. Make sure the shoulders are right over the wrists and hips over the knees. Hands are right under those shoulders. Press your palms and all 10 fingers into the floor, moving into our cow and cat. Inhale, drop your belly, bring your gaze high. Open through the collarbone, tailbone lifts up. And then exhale, press through the palms, scoop through the belly, tuck the tail. Inhale, drop the belly, bring the gaze high again, open through the front. And exhale, press through the palms, tuck the tail. Feel your shins and tops of the feet pressing into the mat. One more round, traditional. Inhale, drop the belly, bring the gaze high. Exhale, press through the palms, tuck the tail, scoop through the belly. Now this time, as you inhale, drop that belly, bring the gaze high, shift your weight to your knees and draw your heels in towards your glutes. We've done this variation before. This will start to engage the hamstrings. Then exhale, shins come down, tuck the tail, scoop through the belly, lift your knees 2 inches off the mat. Now we're really using the core. Inhale, knees come down, we arch the spine, heels come in towards the glutes, again really opening through the front. And then exhale, shins come down, press into those tops of the feet, tuck the tail, lift the knees 2 inches. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, drop the belly, heels move in towards the glutes. Exhale, press through the palms, shins into the floor, lift those knees 2 inches. And then inhale, just gently let your knees come down, find your neutral spine here. Extend your right leg to the back, so lifting it off the floor. Then gently carry it to the side of the body and plant that foot. So setting up for that side bend we've done a few times. Make sure the foot is directly in line with the left knee. As you inhale, bring your arms up to a capital T shape. So you're balancing on one hand, one knee here. As you exhale, bring the right hand to the outside of the right leg. Let the left hand reach up and over. So just creating that nice little side bend here. Lots of energy through the left fingertips. You can look up towards that left arm. This is the feeling we eventually get in our reverse warrior when we're in our standing practice. So just remember what this feels like here. Inhale, gently come back through your capital T shape. Exhale, left hand to the floor, right arm reaches up and over, creating a side bend in the opposite direction. Eventually, see if you can work into a back bend here. So allow your heart to open to the ceiling, reach your right arm up and back. Take out the back bend if you found it. Inhale, come back to your capital T shape. Then exhale, hands come to the floor, setting up for your tabletop. Inhale, lift your right leg, carry it all the way to the back of the body. And exhale, let your knee come down. We'll do that to the other side. So inhale, extend your left leg out behind you. Carry it all the way to the side of your body, then plant that foot nice and strong. Once you have your legs situated, inhale, come up to your capital T shape. As you exhale, it's left hand to left leg. Find that deep side body stretch here. Right fingertips reach up and over. And again, imagine you're creating that reverse warrior shape, deep side bend. Really reach with the right fingertips. On your next inhale, gently come back through your capital T. Exhale, right hand to the floor, left arm up and over. Finding that side stretch and eventually working into a back bend here, sternum towards the ceiling. And gently take out your back bend and inhale, come back through center your final time. Exhale, hands come down to the mat right underneath the shoulders. Inhale, lift that left leg, carry it all the way to the back of your body. And then exhale, knee comes down. Let's take 2 more rounds of traditional cow and cat here. So inhale, drop your belly, bring your gaze high. Nice and easy. And exhale, press through the palms, scoop through the belly. Final time, inhale, drop the belly, bring the gaze high. And exhale, press through the palms, tuck the tail. Inhale, come back to your neutral spine, tuck your toes. Exhale, send your hips high, downward dog. So finding your first down dog of the day, hips are nice and high. You can pedal out through the feet if it feels good. Bend one knee at a time if that feels right, taking whatever little bits of movement you need in this first down dog. And then when you feel ready, find stillness in your down dog. So let both heels lengthen towards the mat. Remembering it's okay if they don't touch, and it's also okay to have a gentle bend in your legs as long as you're still very active in the legs. So in that perfect world, we engage the quadriceps, kneecaps pull up, heels are lengthened so the backs of your legs are long. Feel your belly and rib cage press closer to the thighs to open the fronts of the shoulders. Make sure your palms and all 10 fingers are really pressed equally into the mat, so we're not rolling the wrists one way or the other. See if you can really feel your low abs and middle abs engage, pulling in and up toward the rib cage. From here, gently bring your gaze forward, walk your feet to the top of your mat, finding our rag doll. So feet come hip width distance, take a big bend in those knees, let the torso hang heavy over the thighs. You can take opposite elbows, you can interlace the fingers behind the head, figuring out whatever feels good for you. We're here for a couple breaths. So you might sway side to side, you can shake the head yes and no. Whatever feels good for you, take about one more full round of breath right here. Now take one more inhale. Exhale, gently release your arms. Keep that generous bend in your knees and start to roll up through the spine one vertebra at a time. Let your head be the very last thing to come up. Once you arrive, take a big shoulder roll up and back, just expanding through the front of your body. And then step your feet together underneath you. Release your arms down by your sides. Find your standing mountain pose, your Tadasana. So a few things to check here. Our feet are really rooted into the ground. You might even spread your toes out and place them back down again. Make sure that your core is nice and strong and that you're reaching through the crown of your head to the ceiling as much as your legs press into the floor. From here, inhale, reach your arms up, let your gaze follow, and exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Bow your chin, close your eyes, set an intention for your practice today. Whatever it is that brought you to your mat, if you're dedicating the practice to someone or something or yourself. And whatever that intention is, let's seal it in with a breath. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, sigh it out. Seal the lips, bring back your Ujjayi breath that we found at the beginning. So breathing in and out through the nose, creating that little constriction, sighing with your mouth closed, fogging up a mirror with your mouth closed, whatever analogy works. Take about 3 full breaths here. This starts to generate the heat in your body. Final breath. Gently blink your eyes open, working into our Surya Namaskar A, our Sun A. As you inhale, reach your arms high, let your gaze follow. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, lead with the heart, take your forward fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Fingertips can come to the mat or hands to the shins if it helps you lengthen out a little more. As you exhale, plant your palms, step back into a high plank. As always, you can lower those knees down right away to take some pressure off your hands. Wherever you are, inhale, shift forward slightly. Now keep your elbows hugged into the body. As you exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Hands stay right by the rib cage. Untuck the toes. Inhale, find a baby cobra. So lift just the top part of your chest off the mat. Maybe lift your hands off the mat, but press your feet down into the floor. As you exhale, let your chest come back down again. Hands really press into the floor. As you inhale, move through your tabletop position, hands and knees. Then exhale, tuck your toes, send your hips high, downward dog. Take 3 full Ujjayi breaths here. Deep inhales, deep exhales through the nose. Final breath. Bring your gaze forward. Gently step your feet to the top of your mat. Bring your toes to touch underneath you. Once you're there, inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up to the sky, let your gaze follow. Then exhale, hands come to heart center. 2 more rounds of that sun A, changing a little bit each time. As you inhale, reach your arms high. This is our Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, find your forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant your palms, step back into that high plank, knees up or down. Inhale, shift forward if your legs are straight. And exhale, lower all the way to the belly again. Elbows hug into the body. Untuck your toes, keeping your hands pressed down. Inhale, lift your chest and legs off the mat. So one of the few locust variations we'll take today. Your hamstrings should be super engaged here. Glutes are squeezing. Elbows hug back into the body, and you're shining that sternum forward, lengthening the spine, not crunching into the low back. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, release the chest and legs down. Inhale, press through your tabletop position or your high plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Hips go high. Take just 2 full breaths right here. Bring your gaze forward, gently step your feet to the top of the mat. Toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen your spine, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky, let your gaze follow, and exhale, hands come to heart center. 1 more round of sun A, add in a little bit to the beginning. So inhale, reach your arms high, grab your left wrist with your right hand, and exhale, bend over to the right. So creating a deep side bend in the body. You should feel a stretch through the left side into the obliques, maybe the hip. Take 1 more round of breath here. See if you can reach a little more on your exhale. Inhale, use your obliques to come back to center. Gently switch your grip, left hand to right wrist. Then exhale, bend over to the left, opposite direction. See if you can do more of a side bend, less of a back bend. Looking up towards that top arm, 1 more round of breath. Reach a little more on your exhale. Inhale, use your abs to come back up to center. Exhale, back bend. So pull the elbows down. Let the heart shine to the ceiling, open through the front of the body. Inhale, reach the arms high, take out your back bend. And exhale, hinge forward from the hips, find your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, plant the palms, step back into high plank. Final vinyasa right here. This time, if your legs are straight or if your knees are bent, you'll shift your weight forward as you inhale. Then exhale, chaturanga, half push-up, or you can always lower to your belly to take pressure off the wrists. From here, inhale, pull your chest through. Come to the tops of your feet, upward facing dog or baby cobra if you went to your belly. In our up dog, those knees are off the mat, super active. And then exhale wherever you are, downward dog. Either moving through your tabletop or just tucking the toes and sending the hips high. 1 full breath here. Gently bring your gaze forward, step your feet all the way to the top of your mat. Toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen your spine. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky, gaze follows. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Moving into our sun B from here. As you inhale, it's our chair pose, our Utkatasana. So bend those legs, sweep the arms down and up. The arms reach to the ceiling, our knees are bent nice and deep. Take a peek down at your feet. Make sure you can see all 10 toes and that you could lift all 10 toes if you wanted to. Your low abs are still engaged, so there isn't a huge arch in the low back. See if you can relax your shoulders slightly, but find energy through the fingertips, engage the triceps. Take 1 more inhale here, bend a little bit deeper, sit in that chair a little more. And then exhale, forward fold, chest goes low, legs release. Inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, plant the palms, step 1 foot, then the other back to lift the hips high. From your downward dog, inhale, lift your right leg high, 3-legged dog, but keep the hips square. As you exhale, step through between your hands. Allow your left heel to come down to the mat. You might want to step your foot in a tiny bit. Bend your right knee and inhale, reach the arms up. Warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. So a few things to check on this side. Make sure your right hip and shoulder pull back a little bit. As always, we're aiming for that squareness in the body here. Press your left pinky toe into the mat so that your outer leg is engaged as well. Make sure you don't roll in on the arch. See if you can engage your front leg a little more, bend a little bit deeper. Take an inhale here, maybe open through the front, find a little back bend. Then exhale, hands come down to frame that right foot. Left heel comes off the mat, and inhale, step back into your downward dog. One full breath right here. Inhale, lift your left leg high, three-legged dog again. Exhale, step that left foot through between your hands, setting up for our warrior one on the other side. So right heel comes down, that foot might have stepped forward slightly. Left leg bends nice and deep so that you can inhale, reach your arms up. Now same checks on this side. It's left hip and shoulder back this time, making sure we're not really sitting into the low back here. So we're imagining lifting through the fronts of the hip flexors so that you can really lengthen through the lower body. Take an inhale, maybe find a gentle back bend here, sternum to the ceiling. Then exhale, hands come down to frame that left foot. That right heel will come off for a moment so that you can step your left leg back into a downward dog. Take one full round of Ujjayi breath here, tuning back in with that breath in case you lost it. From here, bring your gaze forward, gently step your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen your spine. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose again. Bend your legs, reach your arms up nice and high. See if you can sit just a touch deeper. Now, in this chair pose, shift your weight slightly to your left foot and see if you can just hover that right foot off the mat. So you're immediately going to feel engagement through that left glute and hamstring a little bit more. You might get a little shake in the leg. Make sure you don't lose the depth of your chair pose in that left leg. One more inhale here. Exhale, right foot comes down, weight comes back to the middle. Now shift over to the right slightly. Inhale, hover your left foot. Don't lose any depth of that chair. Feel how it is to really engage through our standing leg. One more inhale here. Exhale, left foot comes down. Inhale, find a half chair pose, so Ardha Utkatasana. We sweep the arms back, your chest comes low as if it was going to rest on the thighs, but we're still really active, so we're not resting all the way down. Imagine a long line of energy from the crown of the head back to your fingertips. You'll notice that in this position you can lower the hips a little more. Imagine that you could get those thighs parallel to the mat and your spine parallel to the mat. Now you can either stay here for 2 more breaths, or if you want to challenge your self, you can shift your weight forward and see if you can lift your heels off the mat. You have to really squeeze your legs in towards each other, keep a single drishti point. Wherever you are, you only have 1 more round of breath. If you lifted your heels, gently release them down to the mat. Everyone inhales, reach your arms back to your traditional chair pose. I know it's a long time to be in chair. Then exhale, forward fold, release, bring that body low. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, plant the palms, downward dog. Step your feet back, lift your hips up nice and high. From your downward dog, inhale, lift your right leg high to the sky. Exhale, step through between your hands, setting up for our warrior one again. So left heel comes down to the mat. You might narrow your stance slightly. Inhale, reach your arms up. Find that warrior one. So bend nice and deep into that right leg. That's the big check here. Right side back, left side forward. Take another inhale here. As you exhale, warrior two. So arms come to our capital T shape. Hips and shoulders face the side of the mat. You might want to slide your left foot back slightly so that you can still bend nice and deep into your right leg. Drishti or gaze is over those right fingertips. From here, inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. So left hand comes to the left leg, right arm reaches up and back. So this is really similar to that gate latch side bend we did on the floor. So see here, if you can slide your left hand down the leg a little more, really finding a side bend here versus a back bend. One more inhale here. Exhale, cartwheel the hands all the way down to frame that right foot. Let your left heel come off the mat and inhale, step back into your downward dog. One full Ujjayi breath here. Next inhale, left leg goes high, three-legged dog. Exhale, step through between your hands. Right heel comes down for our warrior one. Inhale, reach the arms up. Bending nice and deep into that front leg. We're not here for as long, so again, feeling that lift of the front of the hips. Arms reach to the ceiling. One more inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Capital T shape in the arms. You might slide your right foot back slightly to widen your stance. Make sure your hips and shoulders are mostly pointed towards the side of the mat. Gaze is over your left fingertips. Make sure you bend nice and deep into that left leg. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. So that right hand comes to the outside of the right leg. Left fingertips reach up and back. Same feeling as gate latch side bend on the floor. So the more that right hand slides down, the more you can reach those left fingertips. Take just one more inhale here. Exhale, hands cartwheel all the way down to the mat to frame that left foot. Right heel off the mat for a moment. And inhale, step back to your downward dog. One full breath here. Inhale, come into high plank. So roll yourself forward, stacking the shoulders over the wrists. And then we'll make our way to our forearm plank. So coming down one elbow at a time. Now with this forearm plank, we're making that number 11 shape with our arms. So we're not clenching the fists together. Both palms are planted on that mat. Shoulders are stacked or right over the elbows. We're staying here for 5 full breaths, so enjoy. Find those Ujjayi breaths. Make sure you're breathing nice and deep. Press the floor away from you with your forearms, so finding a slight doming feeling between the shoulder blades. 2 more breaths. Final breath. We come to side plank from here. Left side is our base. So pivot your left arm as if you were going to tap your right elbow with your left hand. From here, shift to the outside of your left foot and reach your right arm high. So here you can keep both feet staggered on the floor, or you can stack the right leg directly on top of the left leg for some extra challenge. You can choose your own adventure here. Keep lifting up through the right hip, finding that engagement of your obliques, your left obliques on this side. Take 2 more breaths right here. Final inhale. Exhale back to our forearm plank. Right hand comes down, toes to the floor. Parallel your forearms once more. From here we get to go to the other side. So pivot your right hand in as if you were going to tap your left elbow, then shift over to the outside of that right foot. Lift the left fingertips high, either staggering the feet or stacking the feet, picking whatever feels best for you. Keep breathing. You have 3 more breaths. 2 more. Final one. 1 inhale all together. Exhale back to forearm plank. Parallel your arms one final time, and then let your hips come down. Untuck your toes. You should be in your Sphinx pose now. So the elbows are directly underneath the shoulders, so vertical upper arms. Palms are pressed down onto that mat. Now press the tops of your feet actively into the floor. So we want the legs to be active. Imagine pulling your chest through your arms using your elbows. Think about broadening through the collarbone, shining the sternum forward. Then lift your belly button away from the floor. So this will engage the low abs to protect the lower back a little bit more. You should feel extremely active here. So even though it's a back bend that's released for the front of the body, you're still really engaging through the back of the body. Take about 4 more breaths. Final inhale, and exhale, release your chest down. Allow your arms to come down by your sides for a minute. Left ear on the mat. Just taking a moment to rest. Gently switch ears, right ear to the mat, just so you feel even. Then gently bring your chin back to the mat. Come to your forearms again. So setting up as if we were in that Sphinx pose. Now, one last really active position for the shoulders here. So elbows directly underneath the shoulders. Make sure that your chest is lifted. Then tuck your toes, find a forearm plank. This is just our transition here. So long line from the crown of the head all the way down to the heels. Now start to tiptoe your feet towards the elbows so that the hips lift up. So this is our dolphin pose. It's really hard. If it feels really challenging, don't worry about it. Your heels can either be up or down here. If you have the mobility, you can always walk your feet in a little bit more, but press the floor away from you. So we're not sinking into the shoulders, we're lifting out of the shoulders. The core is nice and strong. You should feel the hip flexors working here. See if you can create the same engagement you felt when we lifted our legs over the blocks at the beginning of class. So that squeeze inward and upward. You have 2 more breaths right here. Final breath. Gently tiptoe your feet back slightly. Let your knees come down to the mat, child's pose. Keep your knees together for this one if it's comfortable. Hips sit back to the heels. Let your arms come back by your sides. So backs of the hands on the mat, forehead comes down, and just take a moment. That dolphin pose is extremely challenging. It's really, really good for shoulder strength, upper body strength, as well as core. So it's a good one to practice sometimes. Take one more full breath here. Gently reach your arms out in front of you in your child's pose. Inhale, come to your tabletop position. And then exhale, tuck the toes, send your hips high, downward facing dog. So hopefully your shoulders and arms feel a little more active after all of that. Your core should feel pretty different too. So moving into one more flow before we make our way to the floor. Inhale, reach your right leg high, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step through between your hands. This time we leave that left heel off the mat. Your stance can stay nice and wide. And inhale, reach the arms up, crescent lunge. Bend nice and deep into that front leg. So the alignment here is pretty similar to Warrior One. We're just pulling the right hip and shoulder back. The left heel is off the floor, so you're pressing forward with that left heel. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, bring your hands through heart center, bend your back leg, so tap that knee down to the mat. This is just to work our standing leg balances. Inhale, reach your arms up, straighten your back leg. We do that 2 more times. Exhale, hands come to heart center, tap that back knee. Final round, inhale, straighten everything long, left leg extends, arms reach up. Exhale, tap your left knee to the floor, hands come to heart center. Inhale, extend the left leg, reach the arms up 1 more time. And exhale, find your Warrior Two, capital T shape in the arms, bending nice and deep into the right leg. Inhale, straighten your right leg, pivot the toes so both sets face the side wall, then bring your heels in. So this should seem familiar from Tuesday, it's our star pose. Inhale, reach the arms high. Imagine there's energy shooting out through both fingertips and feet. As you exhale, bend your legs, hands come to heart center, find your goddess. So here, make sure your knees don't collapse inward. We're trying to press them out towards the pinky toe side of each foot. We're going to stay here for 3 more breaths. Two more. Final breath. Inhale, straighten everything long. Find your star pose, reaching the arms high. Now, as you exhale, bend your left leg, keeping the right leg straight. This is our Skandasana. So we did this the other day. You have some options. Left leg is bent, knees over the toes, right leg is straight. That side foot can be flexed, or it can be planted on the floor with a slight lift of the hips. Hands can be at heart center, or they can be at the floor. Whatever feels good here. Here we're targeting a stretch in the inner right thigh, as well as finding activity in both legs. So we're not just sinking down into the hips. We're still kind of pressing the floor away from us with the legs. Take 2 more breaths right here. If you have your hands at heart center, gently release them to the floor in front of you. Now start to bend into both legs, crawling yourself all the way back to the front of your mat. So right leg will be bent, left leg is long, heel is off the mat. We're back in that low lunge position, hands are framing the foot. From here, inhale, shift your weight forward, straighten your right leg, left leg at 90 degrees. We come here a lot in our classes, checking in with that standing balance leg. Make sure your left leg feels like it's kicking a wall behind you. Now see if you can hover your weight just to your fingertips. Then bring your hands to heart center, finding your warrior three. So long line, capital T shape in the body. Your left toes point straight down towards the floor. We're not here for long. Take just one more inhale. As you exhale, we find our Shiva squat. See if you cannot touch your hands to the floor. So we bend that right leg, tap your left knee to your right calf. If you need to, you can always hover those fingertips to the floor for a little extra balance help. Keep breathing. This is a really similar feeling to when we hovered our feet in our chair pose, so see if you can recreate it here. Now, this is the really big challenge. As you inhale, can you stand all the way up without tapping your left foot to the floor? So we straighten that right leg, we bring the torso up, left knee comes into the chest, arms reach high. Now, once you find your balance there, bring your hands to your hips. Exhale, step your left foot behind you slightly, so there's about a couple feet between your right and left leg. Now we're set up for our pyramid pose. Yay, 2 feet on the floor. So before we do anything, make sure your feet are railroad tracks here. So right foot is directly out from your right hip, left foot is directly out from your left hip. Toes are pointed straight forward, hands come to the hips, pull your right hip back slightly. Inhale, open through the heart. Exhale, keep your right hip pulled back as you fold forward over the leg. Eventually, hands will release down to the floor. They can either be out in front of you or walked back slightly, whatever feels best. See if you can reach your collarbone towards your toes here. Keep pulling your right hip up and back. So imagine you could balance a block on your hips and they would be so even that it would not slide off. Make sure your legs are really active here, so quadriceps are still engaged. We don't sit into hyperextension in that front knee. Take about 2 more breaths. Walk your hands out in front of you slightly. Find a halfway lift as you inhale. Bring your hands to your hips and come all the way back up to standing. From here, take a gentle bend in your right knee. Shift your weight forward to draw your left knee into your chest once more. This is back in our one-legged Tadasana. Root down through your right leg. Inhale, reach your arms high to the sky. As you exhale, we'll find our figure 4 balance. So bend your right knee, cross your left ankle over your right knee as if you're sitting cross-legged in a chair, ankle to knee. Imagine you're sitting into that chair in your right leg, so that knee is bent. Hands come to heart center. Left toes will flex here. Find some activation in that lower leg. Now this might be challenging enough. If so, keep your gaze forward. Find a single drishti to look at. If you want to challenge yourself a little more, you can start to hinge forward from the hips, bringing your forearms towards your left shin. That movement within a balance is one of the hardest things to do. So keep rooting through your right leg. You have 2 more breaths in this chair, in this figure 4. Next inhale, really slowly start to come all the way back up to standing. Straighten through your right leg, draw your left knee into your chest. Then exhale, finally release that left foot to the floor. Bring your hands to heart center for a moment. Close your eyes, just find your breath again. A lot of standing leg today. Gently blink your eyes open. Inhale, reach those arms high, let your gaze follow. Then exhale, hinge forward from the hips, take a forward fold. Inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen your spine. And exhale, plant the palms, step back into your downward dog. Lift the hips up nice and high. Take a moment in this down dog. Let's take 2 cleansing breaths. So deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. 2 more like that. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, let it go. Final time, inhale. Exhale, open mouth, let it go. Now we get to do that all to the left. So find your Ujjayi breath again. Breathe in and out through the nose. Then inhale, reach your left leg high. Exhale, step through between your hands. Right heel stays off that mat, setting up for the crescent lunge as you inhale. So reach your arms up. You're still bending nice and deep into that right leg. Left heel is off the mat. Take an inhale here. Now finding that leg work. As you exhale, hands come to heart center. Tap your right knee to the floor. Inhale, extend that right leg. Reach your arms high, straighten everything tall. Exhale, right knee taps down again. We have one more time. Inhale, straighten the right leg, reach the arms high. Exhale, hands come through heart center, tap that back knee. Inhale, straighten everything one more time. Then exhale, find your warrior two, capital T shape in the arms. Situate yourself here. Inhale, straighten your left leg, pivot both sets of toes to face the side of your mat, then bring your heels in. So setting up for that star pose again. Inhale, reach the arms up, find energy through the fingertips all the way down into your feet. Then exhale, bend your legs, knees go over those toes, external rotation in the legs. Now this time, see if you can lift your right heel off the mat. Just finding a little bit of ankle stability here. Make sure you don't lose the depth of the bend in your hips. Gently lower your right heel down. Lift your left heel off the mat. Finding that same ankle stability, rooting down into the floor. Left heel goes down. Final challenge, see if you can float both heels off that mat. Keep dropping the hips, core stays strong. And gently let both heels come down. Inhale, straighten your legs, reach your arms high. Now moving into our Skandasana, right leg bends, left leg stays straight. Hips and shoulders still face the side of your mat. So same options. You can flex that right foot off the floor. You can plant it on the mat. Hips can be high or low. Hands can be on the floor or at heart center. Take 3 full breaths in this Skandasana. Keep your left leg active. Imagine you're pressing the floor away from you with your legs while simultaneously stretching that left inner thigh. One more breath. Now keep your body low to the floor. Those hands release down. Start to make your way back towards your left leg. So shifting your weight through 2 bent legs. Then eventually finding your low lunge into your left leg at the top of your mat. Hands frame that foot. From here, inhale, shift your weight forward, lift your right leg off the mat. Now we're setting up for that warrior 3 on the other side. So right foot is kicking a wall behind you, hips are squared off towards the floor. See if you can come just to your fingertips. Then eventually hands come to heart center. Keep that standing leg balance, single gaze. You have just one more inhale here. Now Shiva squat as we exhale. Maybe hands stay off the floor. You bend that left knee. Tap your right knee to your left calf. Keep that strong standing leg balance. Hands can always come to the floor if you need to. Now here's that really challenging transition. We're coming all the way up to standing, never touching that right leg down. So inhale, start to stand through that left leg. Torso comes up, right knee comes into the chest, arms reach high. Keep rooting down through that left leg nice and strong. Hands come to the hips. And exhale, step your right leg back, setting up for our pyramid pose. So again, about 2 feet in between, maybe a little bit more if you want. That left hip is back, right hip forward. Feet are railroad track, so hip width distance. Hands are on the hips. Inhale, find some length through your spine. And exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Really lengthen all the way down. Make sure that left hip doesn't creep forward. Then either taking your hands out in front of you or walking them back slightly. Your right leg is active. Your spine is really long. You should feel a really nice stretch into the back of that left leg. Take 3 more breaths right here. Final round of breath. Walk your hands forward slightly. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Bring your hands to your hips and draw your body all the way up to standing. Now, final bit of standing balance is as you inhale, little bend in that left leg to shift your weight forward. Draw that right knee into your chest. Arms reach high. As you exhale, find your figure four. So bend your left leg. Right ankle comes to that left knee. Imagine you're sitting cross-legged in a chair. Hands come to heart center. Now, if you kept it here on the first side, do it again here. If you folded forward on the first side, you can start to take that. So hinging forward from the hips, maintaining the length through your spine at all times. So we're not rounding over the leg. We're extending the spine as if you're looking at something in front of the foot on the floor. Wherever you are, single drishti, single focal point. Your left leg is bent. It's nice and strong. One more breath. Inhale, start to bring your torso upward. Start to straighten through your left leg. Draw your right knee into your chest. One final time, reach your arms high. And exhale, right foot comes down. Hands come to heart center. 2 breaths right here. From here, inhale, final chair pose of the class. Bend those legs, reach your arms high. We use this chair to make our way to a seat. So start to bend through those legs, chest comes low. Eventually, arms reach out in front of you and you lower all the way down to your tailbone. Good work, you guys. We made it to a seat, finally. So extend both legs out in front of you. From here, take them nice and wide. So I'm gonna turn sideways. So we're finding our way into our Upavista Konasana, our wide-legged forward fold. So we're keeping it simple today, just folding right down into the middle. So bring your hands out in front of you. Inhale, open through the heart. And exhale, start to walk your hands forward. So here, we're keeping this active. So a little different from our yin practice. Your feet are still flexed. Your quads are engaged. Your core is still engaged. But you are folding forward, so you can rest on your wrists, your hands, elbows, whatever feels good. Trying to find that slight tip of the pelvis, but knees still point towards the ceiling. We only have about 5 breaths here. When you finish that 5th breath, inhale, start to walk yourself all the way back up. And then gently shift your weight back slightly, bring your legs together in front of you. And just give yourself a little windshield wiper motion side to side, rocking one way then the other. Now from here, we're actually going to make our way all the way to our back so that we can do a little more there today. So we're going to boat pose it. So before you lay back, I know I faked you out. We're going to do some ab work first. So bring the soles of your feet down to the floor. That same boat pose that we did before. So just really finding that hip flexor and low ab engagement. Now before we get into it, I want you to remind yourself how it felt when we lifted those legs over the block. That sense of activation and the drawing the legs in towards us is what we want to find in that boat pose. So bring your hands behind you, fingertips point forward, and draw your tip toes to the floor, so heels lift off the mat. Now draw your femur into the socket and towards you. Find length through your spine. From here, float one foot then the other, finding that bend in the knees, and then maybe float the hands. This might be enough. If not, you straighten those legs. Wherever you are, keep lengthening the crown of the head to the ceiling. We're here for 4, 3, 2, low boat on 1. Hover the feet, hover the shoulders, hollow out through the front of the body. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Today, release all the way down on 1. You don't have to come back up. So shoulder and feet come down to the floor. Draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug for just a moment. Release through those hip flexors. And then gently release your feet to the floor, hip width distance. So taking 1 or 2 back bends today, we're finding our boat pose. So toes point straight forward, feet are hip width distance apart, arms release down to the sides. So if I said boat pose, it's our bridge pose. So palms press into the floor. Inhale, start to lift your hips. So here, we want to imagine you are simultaneously squeezing something together with your knees and pressing out against a band at the same time. So you're active in the inside and outside of your legs. Your arms are actively pressed into the floor. Your hips are lifted nice and high. Those hamstrings are going to engage. Your glutes will engage in this pose. We want to protect that low back to avoid putting pressure on our lumbar spine. Take about 3 more breaths right here. Final inhale. As you exhale, articulate through the spine 1 vertebra at a time to lower your hips all the way down to seated. Let your knees fall in towards each other for just a moment, finding that neutral spine, letting everything relax. We're going to do that 1 more time. So bring your feet back to hip width distance, toes point forward, arms are down by your sides. Inhale, lift those hips, find your bridge pose. You can always walk those shoulders underneath you slightly if it feels good. You can always bind the hands underneath you if that feels good. Wherever you are, you have 3 more breaths. Inner and outer legs are engaged, feet press into the floor, hips lift to the ceiling. Final inhale. Untuck your shoulders if you tucked them, and exhale, articulate through the spine, lower all the way down. Gently rock your knees side to side, windshield wiper in the legs. Now draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug for just a moment. And then release your arms out to your sides. So palms face down, capital T shape in the arms. Bring your knees slightly away from your chest. Take an inhale. And then exhale, let both legs go to the left side of your body. Find your supine twist. So let your feet release to the floor. Right shoulder stays down, but right hip is off. If it feels good, you can let your gaze shift over to the right side. You have about 5 full breaths here. Inhale, gently bring your gaze back to center and bring your legs back to center. Finding a neutral spine for a moment. You can hug your knees into your chest, whatever feels good. Maybe rock it side to side. And then we'll set up for our supine twist on the other side. So arms back to your capital T shape, slight lift of the knees away from the chest. Inhale. Exhale, legs go over to the right. Left hip comes off, left shoulder stays down. Let your gaze shift over to the left side if it feels good. You can close your eyes. Let your body feel really heavy here. You have 5 deep, slow breaths. Inhale, gently bring your head back to center, legs back to center. Give yourself one last little squeeze. If there's any movements you need to take before we close the practice, feel free. Maybe rock side to side, circle the knees. And then finally, draw your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your legs, start to engage everything. So shoulders lift off the mat, chin tucks into the chest. Make sure your core is active, your feet are flexed or pointed, your face might even scrunch up. Any tension, any extra energy, gather it all into your center right here. Take one final inhale, squeeze it all even tighter. And exhale, Shavasana. Release everything long, legs extend onto the mat. Arms release down by your sides, palms face up. Let your eyes close. Let go of everything you've done in this practice. Let your mind clear again if any thoughts did come into it. Your breath finds its natural rhythm, whatever that may be, wherever it moves in the body. Allow your eyes to fall back into the socket. Allow your jaw to unclench. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. And in that same way, just release through your entire body, letting each part of you become heavier and heavier. And for the next couple minutes, just enjoy stillness here. I'll be back to wake you up when it's time. Without changing anything in your body, start to simply deepen your breath, allowing each inhale and exhale to be a little deeper and to bring fresh energy into the body. And gently wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Allow your head to rock side to side. And if it feels good, you can draw your knees into your chest and roll over to one side, finding a fetal pose. Whatever other movements feel good to get there. And then keeping your eyes closed and moving as slow as you'd like, just start to move to a seated position. Whatever way your legs face, whatever way they are, it's perfect. Allow your hands to come to heart center. Allow your chin to bow once you arrive. And just take a moment to close your eyes. And thank yourself for doing something good for your mind and body for an hour out of your morning. The light within me meets, greets, and honors the light within you. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.